We'll explain in a second.
No, no, no. But
I'm very calm. I'm very calm. You don't want to see my other face.
he's calmed down, man. Hey, look. But all I want to ask is, have you guys got kids? Have you guys got kids doing this stuff?
I don't have kids. I didn't do anything
I know,
wrong.
I know you're going to work. Look, I know you're going to work and doing your job. I got a mate that's a copper as well. I got mates that are coppers, alright? I understand.
The disturbing video you just saw was a man being arrested in front of his 3-year-old daughter for the sole crime of not wearing a mask outdoors in a park while surrounded by nobody. A horrible crime, I know. Now, I've known about the story for a couple of days, but I couldn't bring myself to watch the video. I knew I was going to get angry and pissed off, but eventually I told myself, you've got to watch it. You've got to know what is possible in a Western democracy. And so I watched it, and I made the decision to make this video, because you need to watch it. You need to know what's possible. So in today's video, we're going to go over a few stories of what's going on in the dystopian state of Australia. And when you're watching this or listening to it, I want you to keep an eye open or have this in the back of your mind. Sure, what's going on in Australia is awful, it's horrible, authoritarian and dystopian. But if it could happen there, it could happen here. Let's begin with the story of the video we saw at the beginning. Distressing moment, a little girl sits in her handcuffed father's lap while he pleads with officers after being arrested for not wearing a mask in a park in Sydney's COVID hotspot. A confused little girl sat in her father's arms as he was berated by 2 police officers for not wearing a mask in a COVID hotspot, but he was unable to comfort her as he was handcuffed with his arms behind his back, sprawled on the ground in a park in southwest Sydney. The distressed father, 31, had been stopped by police on a walk path in the park at 2:20. Police alleged he became verbally abusive and aggressive towards the officers when they spoke to him about not wearing a mask. Officers warned the man on multiple occasions about his conduct before he was arrested. This is bullshit, and here's why. I don't care if he cursed you out. First of all, there's no reason for you to bother the man about the mask. I don't care what the law says. You have morals. You have a brain. Don't just follow orders. Second of all, the guy's with his 3-year-old daughter. What are you going to do? If you want, just give him a warning and let him go. Don't escalate things. He's with his 3-year-old daughter who you traumatized. You've traumatized this girl. This is going to be a traumatizing moment for her. There's no reason for us to watch the video again, so let's move on to the next story, which also has a video for us. Brisbane man suffers heart attack after being arrested for not wearing a mask. From Sky News Australia. A video of a man apparently having a seizure after being arrested for not wearing a mask has caused outrage on social media. Queensland police officers didn't believe a man had heart problems as they arrested and handcuffed him until he suffered cardiac arrest. There's a video, so I keep on reading.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
Alright, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It looked weird. Maybe that's what a cardiac arrest looked like or seizures looked like, but it looked like he threw himself on the ground. I don't know. But the reaction did sound genuine. So, comment your opinions down below. I'm not sure what to say with that one. But still, stop arresting people for not wearing masks. Crazy? Next story. 3-year-old boy granted exemption to cross Queensland-New South Wales border after health minister called rules profound moral failure. This headline sounds good, right? The kid got the exemption. Wait till we start reading and you'll see it's not as good as it sounds. But before we start reading, you got to know this. There are literal borders between the states and you can't cross them. In the Constitution, the beautiful United States, we have something called the Privileges and Immunities Clause, which basically says that if any state prohibits you from crossing into that state or from traveling, they violate the Privileges and Immunities Clause. You can sue them and then you can travel as you so desire. But let's read. A toddler stranded in New South Wales away from his parents for months. Stranded for months away from his parents. Is a toddler, a 3-year-old again. You people are traumatizing these kids. These are the formative moments of their brains, of their lives. You can't be playing around like that. And don't get me started on the lockdowns. If a kid is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and you have them on lockdown for 2 years, what is that? 40, 50, 60% of their lives? Nobody thinks about this. It's crazy. From The Atlantic, there's a left-leaning publication here. Australia traded away too much liberty, you think? How long can a democracy maintain emergency restrictions and still call itself a free country? Not long. Australia is not a free country. I'm not going to read you this whole story. There's one part I want to read to you because Australia passed a new law, and it's disturbing, to say the least. The state will text at random times, and thereafter, they will have 15 minutes to take a picture of their face in the location where they are supposed to be. Should they fail, the local police department will be sent to follow up in person. We don't tell them how often or when, on a random basis, they'll have to reply within 15 minutes. Premier Stephen Marshall explained, I think every South Australian should feel pretty proud that we are the national pilot for the home-based quarantine app. You should be proud. You're the rat. We're testing this on you. You should be proud. No, you don't get freedoms. You should be proud. You got to tell me where you are whenever I say. I have 15 minutes to answer. And if you don't, I'll send the cops after you. You should be proud. Be proud. Last, concentration camps. No, I'm joking. We're not there yet. From the New York Times. Australia is betting on remote quarantine. Here's what I learned on the inside. Funny how they call it remote quarantine and not, quarantine camps. Look at this. Unbelievable. They make it seem like it's optional. Well, guess what? It's not. They tear you away from your families, as I've shown in previous videos. My goodness. The next story I want to show you about Australia is a woman, a famous anti-vaxxer who was arrested and followed and then arrested for the crime of leaving her home without a valid excuse. Check this out.
I've just been pulled over by the cops, probably because I'm outside of my 5Ks, but we'll see what happens. So I just thought I'd put the live stream on just in case. I don't know why I just took my seatbelt off. That was stupid.
Hello Monica,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Good, you?
We're just from the Springvale Police Station.
Sure.
At the moment, we need to have a chat to you about a matter of incitement, so I need to place you under arrest for that, okay?
Pardon?
At the moment, you're under arrest for incitement.
Have you guys been following me?
You do not have to say I do anything, but anything you say to you may record and give evidence. Do you understand that? Do you understand that, Monica?
No comment.
Okay.
Please share this video as much as possible. Monica Smith has just been arrested for
Can you turn the car
incitement.
off for me, please? On the phone, we're seizing that car off.
If you're a cop, at what point do you start using your morals and your brain and you say, hold on a second, I'm not going to follow those orders. Not only do those orders not make sense to me, they are draconian and evil and authoritarian and tyrannical, and I want no part in this. I'm supposed to protect the public, not terrorize it. At what point do cops do that? Huh? It could happen here. Now, we have a beautiful constitution, as I mentioned before, but we have a disturbing amount of woke lawyers in this country and an increasing amount of woke judges. Increasing because of the current regime and Republicans like Lindsey Graham who vote to confirm those judges. Why? Because he doesn't care about you. He's part of the establishment, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just like the government in Australia, they're the ruling class, so they want to keep you down. They like how things are right now. But the Constitution is protecting us, for now. Now, before I end this video, I came across an interesting clip about how COVID deaths were counted. Sure, COVID has claimed a lot of lives, both in America and around the world. But I fear that we will never truly know the real number. Here's why.
I just want to be clear in terms of the definition of people dying of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
So, if you died with COVID, but not of COVID, you are still counted as a COVID death. If you were shot in the head but you had COVID, COVID death. If you had an accident and you got COVID, COVID death. If you had cancer and you died and you had COVID, COVID death. So will we really truly know the accurate numbers? I fear not. I fear not. Why? Because things got politicized, because money was involved, because hospitals had incentives to say these things were COVID deaths when they were not. They got more money or something like that. So we got to learn, we got to learn from the mistakes that are going on now, not just here, but also abroad. We got to protect our Constitution and make sure that what's happening in Australia will never happen here. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, so people can see what's going on in Australia and what to prevent from happening here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.